Is 19 minutes to 9. It's not us, it's you. That appears to be the message from the users reported to be fleeing from X, of course formerly known as Twitter. They've been driven out by what they claim is its owner, Elon Musk's push towards the right. But it's not just users. Advertising revenues have drained from the site to the point that the billionaire is currently suing a group of major companies, accusing them of unlawfully agreeing to boycott X. Well, Dr. Liam McLaughlin is lecturer in communication and media at the University of Liverpool. Liam, good morning to you.
Good morning to you too.
Is it clear what Elon Musk's strategy for X, formerly known as Twitter, actually is?
That's a really good question, and it really depends on how you're looking at it. And I think if you look at the history of Elon Musk and what he's always been about, there's looks at some previous biographies at his time, for example, at PayPal. He's always been fascinated by this everything app. Right, the idea that you can have one app that does literally everything, and he's looked at other platforms. There's WeChat in kind of China, which has also been quite successful in this, and that's kind of what his initial dream was, right? To have this platform that does everything for everyone, payments, cryptocurrency exchanges, to be an AI app at the same time. It just seems like he just bought Twitter to have this wider goal. It's just not played out very well for him at all, and then it's gone a bit. With recent controversies, one might say, down the pan a bit.
And that's because, for those maybe who aren't on the platform, they may not have seen this, but of course he has been endorsing Donald Trump. In fact, he did a Q&A with Donald Trump just the other day. He's been very vocal on the situation here in the UK in terms of those taking to the streets to riot and protest. It's become very, very political.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really interesting the fact that, previously, we look at kind of big tech oligarchs. We look at kind of Mark Zuckerberg, for example, and we look at kind of how people have been quite critical of these kind of major platform owners, right? And there was an Ipsos Mori poll last year that put social media platforms as one of the least trusted industries, and that's below the oil and gas, banking, and even government, which are all industries traditionally people have thought didn't trust, right?
And Zuckerberg, of course, is the man behind Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram.
And people really haven't. There's been very light touch regulation. There has been regulation, but there's been this perception that, people who own these platforms they've had power, but they've only very gently used it. Now, it's only until kind of Elon Musk has bought Twitter where an owner of a platform has turned around and said, I'm going to be political with my platform. I'm going to make political decisions. And we saw that fairly early on when he decided to kind of start banning people who had been banned for fairly justifiable reasons. For example, Tommy Robinson was previously banned on the platform. So was Donald Trump, who's just been welcomed back with open arms. So there's people like Katie Hopkins, who are all kind of controversial figures for a lot of their statements. So while and it's kind of been this gentle politicization of the platform, and this kind of has caused a real decrease in trust of the platform. And trust is such an important word when it comes to social media. If we have low trust in the platform, it changes how we engage, it changes kind of how we interpret the things we're seeing on a platform, and it changes how we evaluate the usefulness on the platform.
Yeah, and
that's kind of where we're seeing people moving away.
And has been accused of spreading disinformation, particularly here in the UK on those recent events that we've seen on the streets. And because he's taken a stance here, because he himself, it seems, from his politics, is right-wing, do you necessarily alienate a large section of the population if you take a political stance in this way?
See, that's a good question. So it's kind of tied to the idea, will X die as a platform? Will people move away because of these politics? And when we look at kind of previous trends of kind of social media apps, brand new social media apps coming out to the forefront and trying to take on the claim of Twitter, which have been many. Mastodon has been one such example. Meta launched Threads, and there's also been Blue Sky as well. But actual examples of them being able to successfully take on Twitter and kind of replace it are very far and few between. And it's only until like the early 2010s where we've actually started seeing platforms being overtaken. And we look back, for example, Facebook. Everyone was saying Facebook's going to die. It's going to be replaced by something else after Cambridge Analytica. and it's doing just fine. In fact, it's still a really important hub for local news.
Well, that's an important point, isn't it? Well, just bear with us a second, Liam, because I want to bring in Dan Sodergren, who is a digital marketing and tech journalist. Dan, thanks for joining us. I wonder where X is at the moment in terms of advertising, because Elon Musk, of course, spent a huge amount of money buying this company. He wants it to be successful.